I don't consider myself a gamer, not by any stretch. My son, on the other hand, is as dedicated to the screen as I am to the table. However, SkyRim is a totally different animal that actually spoke to me. And I played it for about 4 years straight. Even today, I still revisit the game. My wife, who's not a video gamer, along with myself, love the work that Jeremy Soule did on the soundtrack. In fact, we think that it's one of the best soundtracks ever created. We listen to it often, but I digress. What are we talking about today? SkyRim is a video game, role-playing game, that has its tech wires buried deep into Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson's Dungeons & Dragons. There's no denying it. I want to talk about two things that SkyRim taught me, or rather, confirmed to me about being a dungeon master. Number one, don't frustrate your players with asshole NPCs. And number two, choices should be left up to the player and not to the dungeon master's story. Or rather, story.
Hey there, it's DM's off. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you know when we upload new videos.
Alright, number one, don't frustrate your players with asshole NPCs. Alright, I'm just gonna say it. Delphine is a cunt. When you meet with her at Riverwood, she's very cloak and daggery, right? She's actually quite standoffish. One of the dialogue options that you have is that you say, "I don't have time for this." She says, "I shouldn't let you walk out of here, knowing what you know. But I guess even my paranoia has its limits. You know where to find me when you change your mind, because you will. You have to. Fucking cunt." I can't think of anything that turns off players more at your table than asshole NPCs that are supposed to be helping. The first time that I encountered her, I was ready to fight. I backed out of the dialogue and took out my sword. I waited for her to get into the fighting stance, but she didn't. Apparently she was there to help. What the fuck? The slap in the face is that she's the only way to progress the story forward. The main storyline. Fucking dumb. Dungeon masters, you should always have another way. Don't marry your quest to any one NPC. Marry yourself to information that can be given by anyone at any time. Next were these gems if you decided to pursue the conversation. You say, "Why are you looking for Dragonborn?" Delphine says, "I'm part of a group that's been looking for you. Well, someone like you for a very long time. If you really are Dragonborn, that is. Before I can tell you any more, I need to make sure I can trust you." Then the dialogue option comes up for you to say this. "How do I know I can trust you?" She says, "If you don't trust me, you were a fool to walk in here in the first place." What the fuck? This shit might work in movies or some stories that you've read because of the demeanor of the hero or heroine, but not in a video game, at least not for me, and especially not in a tabletop role-playing game. Sure, they can have a harsh tone to begin with, but they should soften up to gain the trust of the player characters. Delphine should realize that the Dragonborn is really her only way out here, the only way to progress her own story to stop the dragon menace. So Dungeon Masters, have a more approachable tone. The very first time I played through, I was like, fuck this bitch, and left. Main quest avoided. I eventually went back after checking forums to see if there was another way around it. Alas, there wasn't. So I had to tolerate this bitch if I wanted to move the main quest line forward. God. So Dungeon Masters, if you value your progression at the table, then don't put frustrating NPCs in front of them, especially if they're trying to push the story forward. I get it, some may like the abuse, and you have to take a litmus test of your own players at your table. If you have killed the progression of your adventure with an NPC like this, there's a solution. Don't marry any information to any one non-player character. Number 2, choices should be left up to the player and not the Dungeon Master's story. No railroading? So you've gone through the main story. You've ascended to Sovngarde, you've beat Alduin, and you come back to that cunt Delphine and the old man Esbern. Guess what? They know about your mentor and friend, Parthenax. Even though he's one of the main reasons why you actually saved Tamriel, you're supposed to murder him. No, just fucking no. Just like there should be options at the beginning of a thing, of an adventure, there should be options at the end of an adventure. Not only that, inside your quest journal, There it is, staring at your face. You gotta fucking kill Parthenax. It doesn't go away, and if you decide not to, you can't 100% the game. I feel horrible. I do. I succumbed. One time. Just to see what would happen. It didn't feel good. It still doesn't feel good. If you haven't killed Parthenax, don't. Forget about 100% in the game. Bethesda can fuck all the way off with their pretentious dogma. Dungeon Master, there's always another way. Always. It's one of the main reasons why I wear this alignment. Chaotic neutral. Anyone that gives you, it's my way or the highway, is hiding something, is too controlling, is frightened, or are just plain evil. Period. Exclamation point. There are always other resolutions to explore. Listen to your players. After all, you're creating a story together at the table. It's not just your story. Let me say it again. It's the table story, not just yours. These are the two things that I learned while playing Skyrim. All kidding aside, Skyrim is a masterpiece of a game, and I revisit it often. Did you learn anything from Skyrim that you can apply as a dungeon master? Leave it in the comments below. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers! This video is brought to you by the generous support of our patrons. Consider becoming a patron. There's a link down in the dungeon. Down there. Also, we have links to other places that Agranak Studios is at.
Alright, do this, and do that, and do this, and do that. And watch this video.